All right, it's Players Week. As the general manager at a TPC facility and a PGA Tour property, this is a big week for us. We're certainly proud to support TPC Sawgrass as they host the fifth major, the Players Championship this week down at TPC Sawgrass. And I wanted to pass on just a couple of things, a little history, what it feels like really to play the golf course and some things that you might see. Some course changes this year that they've made down at TPC Sawgrass, as well as my picks to win the Players this year. A little bit of history. The golf course is on 415 total acres. Was built in 1980. The first year that the Players was actually hosted at TPC Sawgrass was in 1982. And a quick, cool little story about the Island Green actually came about by accident. As Pete Dye was designing the golf course, they actually used the soil around what was going to be a par 3 on the rest of the golf course. It was sandy soil that was going to be used very well on the rest of the golf course. And his wife actually came up with the idea for the Island Green. Mr. Dye didn't necessarily like that initially, but went with it, and it certainly has become one of the most iconic golf holes in all of golf there at TPC Sawgrass, number 17. Playing the golf course, a couple of holes that come to mind that maybe we don't see as much on TV as maybe 16, 17, and 18. But hole number 2 is a really cool golf hole, a par 5 that you really got to hit a draw off the tee. And then it kind of calls for a fade hitting into the green, which is a really cool thing about the entire golf course. That number 1 requires a fade, number 2 requires a draw, number 4 requires a fade. You kind of go from shot to shot, and that's why they call it a shot maker's golf course. So number 2 is a really cool hole. I think number 14 is another hole that you see a lot of trouble. There's water lurking. It's a long par 4, a tough green complex to make a birdie on. So keep an eye out for number 2 and number 14. And then playing the golf course, one aspect that maybe is not seen a ton on TV is the intimidation that number 17, the par 3, comes into play, and how cool it is to walk down number 16 and then inevitably look over at number 17, knowing that I got a couple of more shots to play before I face the obviously intimidating shot there at number 17, which is only 132 yards. But notice that walk, the players that are walking down number 16, the par 5, as they look over and see what's happening on number 17, because they're already starting to think about that tee shot. Course changes this year are exciting down at TPC Sawgrass. They've resurfaced, just talk about 4 of the major ones, resurfaced all the greens with a new turf that I think what you'll see is a much firmer, faster, and smoother green surface. The golf course is going to play really, really firm, and I think going to be difficult this year. Number 6 and 7, there have always been 2 lakes between number 6 and 7 to monitor those holes and to guard those holes, but they weren't as viewable from each of the tees. And now there's been mounding taken away, and now there's one large lake between number 6 and 7 that when you're standing on those tees provides a little bit more intimidation factor than maybe what it did before. So I think 6 and 7 are going to play a lot different. The practice facility has been totally redone. Very, very large, very, very exciting, and really, really good practice facility. Most notably, they've built basically a replica of the 17th green there. In the middle of the practice facility. When you're warming up, you're hitting shots to a bulkheaded green that looks almost identical to number 17. Is a really neat aspect of the new practice facility. And probably the biggest change is number 12, turning that into about a 350, or the old hole was a 350, 360 yard par 4. Now adding a water feature, lake on the left, and a very long green side or fairway bunker. And now the hole's playing 302, so they've added a really nice drivable par 4 component onto the back 9 that's going to add to the risk reward that certainly some of those other holes. So be on the lookout for number 12. The old hole was an iron off the tee and a wedge on the green. Now you're going to see a lot more 3-woods and drivers and taking it at that green for a risk-reward drivable par 4. So those are the changes. Lastly, what are my picks? Picks this year. I think we've all seen Rory now has signed his new deal or looked at his new deal for TaylorMade. This is a good golf course for him, ball striking wise. So I think that's going to really get him in the right place to play for one of the richest purses in golf. Over $10 million total purse and almost $2 million to the winner's check. So I think Rory is my major pick. But a couple local guys here are my sleepers that I think are playing well and are due for a good golf tournament. And I'll take 3 of my local guys from Las Vegas as my sleepers. Kevin Na, Scott Piercy, and Ryan Moore. I think these golf courses set up good for them. If they can get the putter rolling, I think they'll be there at the end. They've had some success there in the past, and I think they'll have some success. Take those to the bank. Look forward to seeing what your thoughts are on the players, and hope you watch this weekend.